Let's begin from the NPP because the party, in collaboration with 4 other political parties, is set to stage a protest on May 5 in opposition to the suspension of Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Tokonu. Now, currently, the NPP is holding a news conference at its headquarters in Accra to outline details of the upcoming demonstrations. Let's now join the live briefing where the party's national organizer, Henry Nanabuachi, is addressing the meeting. I mean, he addressed it quite shortly, but now it's the party's communications director, Richard Anyagba.
The NDC is calculating to do your right, my right, will have vanished under this democracy, and we will resist that. And that's the invitation for you to all to join us on 5th May at the park opposite the Supreme Court for a demonstration that would signal to the executive that our democracy matters more than anyone's politics. It matters more than any individual's political ambition. We are determined to let the government understand that the very democracy that brought them to office, they must ensure they protect it and keep it safe for our posterity. Thank you very much, Erin Anabuachi, for that strong message. It is time now to invite the minority leader of the New Patriotic Party caucus in Parliament, the Osahene Alexander Apenyo Markins.
Oh, it's okay.
Yes, sir.
The mighty minority. Assign him on the microphone.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the press. We are here as a mighty minority to also have a bite on these disturbing issues that confront our nation. Before I address the issue of the Chief Justice, let me take you through some disturbing matters that we have witnessed since the NDC assumed the reins of government on the 7th of January 2025. The first thing we heard was the mass dismissal of the youths who have been employed in state-owned enterprises and in the public sector. People who have been employed for over 7 years, 6 years, were suddenly asked to go home. Some go into their offices and they are sacked. Nurses who were recruited last year have been made to go home. Teachers who were recruited and posted have been sacked. That is the state of the NDC government for you. Instead of creating employment opportunities, they are rather creating more unemployment. Now, even with some of these institutions, they now replace some institutional heads with their party faithfuls as part of their resetting agenda. Now, let's come to the issue of galamsey. Somewhere 2014, the then Minister of Finance, Honorable Setekwe, appeared before Parliament and lamented on the state of the cocoa production in our country. Among the key issues he addressed Parliament on, through its Finance Committee, was issue of galamsey. Of course, NPP came into office and made attempt to address this issue. I must admit we were not successful. The NDC used it as a campaign tool. Today, what do we see? According to organized labor, this is not from NPP. According to organized labor, the galamsey situation has worsened. And they have now even institutionalized galamsey by enacting what they call a gold board. What is the essence of gold board? They claim that the gold board is now going to buy equipment for small-scale miners. But you and I know that their intent is not to support any small-scale miner. Their intent is to support galamseyers. That's exactly what they are doing. And they are saying they're monopolizing the purchase of gold and to regulate it and all. What are they trying to do? Let's go to our military. Our military, Ghana Armed Forces, they've been kept out of politics. From President Kufuor's time all the way to Nanado, whom they have so much criticized. Those heads in our military, the generals, were allowed to stay in office when NPP assumed office. Some served for over a year until they themselves retired. But what are we seeing today? There's a complete wipeout at the highest level of the military. They first decided to clear those senior officers, the generals. The CDS, the army commander, and other service chiefs were cleared. Then they added some 15 more. And upon assumption of office, the new CDS now is forcing 2-star generals to all retire. Yes. So again, what they are doing is to make our military, our Ghana Armed Forces, also partisan. When they were in opposition, they complained about taxes that the Ghanaian businessman is suffering. What we see today, apart from the e-levy, all taxes, including levies that we pay at our ports, remain same. They have not changed anything. I'm hereby exposing to you the hypocrisy of the NDC. VAT has not changed. In fact, for the mining companies, they have even increased the taxes, and they say because they are making profit, they have to increase it over and above what they came to meet. Now, ask yourself again about our utility. Electricity tariffs. Now, we are paying more. We are paying more than they came to meet. And even so, Doomsaw is back. Their other card they are playing is the persecution of NPP appointees. So, to create the impression that they are all righteous, to create the impression that the situation was bad and there was corruption, they've targeted former appointees. I want to assure them that we will never surrender. They can never use this to cow us into self-preservation to crush the NPP spirit. To enable them achieve this, they now want to control our courts. So what are we seeing? The attempt to sack the Chief Justice. I, on behalf of the Minority Caucus, hereby say that what we're witnessing today under John Mahama-led government is a systematic and calculated assault on the independence of the judiciary. An institution that we all know is the last line of defense for the rule of law, the protection of rights, and the survival of our democratic republic. Today, what we see is intimidation, political interference, and open targeting of judges who are perceived as inconvenient and non-compliant. This is not just unacceptable, it is repugnant to good conscience. The current attacks on the Chief Justice and the broader attempt to politicize the bench must be seen for what they are. And here, our Council of State failed our democracy.
Totally.
They rehearsed the suspension of the Chief Justice. They got a fake research done, threw it into the air. The majority of Ghanaians want the Chief Justice sacked. Before even the Council of State received the so-called petitions, the NDC papers were all over in town saying that the Chief Justice was going to be suspended. Clearly, they had rehearsed the agenda. And if you look at the petitions, for all that I've read, I find it very unfortunate. In this country, we know that when the president, the first lady, travel, the cost is borne by the state. Same with the Speaker of Parliament. He and his immediate family going on official trip. Why will the official travel of the Chief Justice, which is backed by a judiciary policy, now become a subject matter of a kangaroo investigation? And they claim that she caused financial loss to the state, etc., etc. But I have something to tell our respected judges. Some of them, I am aware, we are aware, that are being promised by the NDC government. Today, it is Tokonu. Tomorrow, it may be them. They should listen and listen well. I want all judges in the country to know that their institution is under attack. The NDC government is approaching you, the judges, telling you that, oh, Tokonu does not have a good interpersonal relationship. She is snobbish, she is this, she is that. But I want you to know that if they allow them to use you today, tomorrow they will come after you. Yep. Act collective. Yes. It is your institution which is under attack. Our demonstration on Monday is not about our party or parties. It's about protecting the institutional integrity of our republic. It's about drawing a line in defense of the Constitution. And it's about telling those in power, you may have your term, but you do not own the state.
Thank you.
The framers of our Constitution understood that democracy without an independent judiciary is no democracy at all. That is why we are gathering on Monday, 5th of May, to say enough is enough. To say that the people of Ghana will not sit idly by while their courts are captured. To say that the power may change hands, but the Constitution must always stand. And to the people of Ghana, our fellow countrymen and women, we invite you to join us. This is not just about the few political parties determining to go on the streets. Of course, we are going on a peaceful demonstration. This is not Parliament's fight. It is a fight for every citizen who wants to live in a country where the law is supreme and no man, no matter how powerful, is above the law. We say that there must be an end to the division and the anger of the past. This government must tread with the greatest caution, always keeping tomorrow in mind when taking decisions today, because these decisions may shape future governance. If we continue down this path, we risk creating a culture of retaliatory politics, where successive governments are more focused on settling political scores than solving problems. Last but not the least, it is obvious that the bold attempt by Mr. President to nominate out of the blue 7 judges to the Supreme Court is the first major attempt at all that they have rehearsed, a 3rd term agenda. All that the NDC is doing, all that our president is doing through the advice of the hawks of NDC is to set a 3rd term agenda for his leadership. They think that by packing the judiciary, there will be a smooth road for that 3rd term agenda. Were we not in this country where even 2 Supreme Court nominees, after going through vetting and were supposed to take their approval at the plenary, the same NDC said by adding 2 more judges to the Supreme Court bench, Nana Addo was packing the courts? Was it not the same NDC where that criticized the proposal to even nominate for appointment 5 more judges to the Supreme Court, and as a result, no further step was taken by the Judicial Council? What has changed? We leave it to the good conscience of they themselves. But we want to tell them that we will not relent. We, in Parliament, will hold their feet to the fire and fight for the ordinary Ghanaian. Please join us 5 a.m. on Monday the 5th of May on this peaceful demonstration. Thank you very much. God bless our homeland Ghana and make it great and strong. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The minority.
So there you have it. You saw the minority leader in Parliament, Alexander Fenwumakin, addressing that particular press conference, which is currently underway at the NPP's national headquarters there. Speaking about several things, amongst them including the 7 new judges that the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has nominated to the Supreme Court. He says, the NDC criticized the 2 that Nana Addo nominated in the latter part of his government, and asking them that if the 2 meant that Nana Addo was packing the court, what does the 7 mean? He will leave that to their conscience. But a lot of things that he said there. Let's go back to the NPP's headquarters, because Henry Nana Boakye, who is the organizer of the party, the national organizer, also spoke on the varied issues concerning this particular demonstration they want to embark on. Listen.
An assault that has now culminated into a dangerous and unconstitutional move. The suspension and planned removal of Chief Justice of the Republic, Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Iraba Isaba Saki Tokuno, by none other than Mr. Mahama himself. The NPP profoundly disapproves and vehemently condemns this blatant disregard for constitutional order, judicial sanctity, and democratic norms. This action taken under the pretext of Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution constitutes a grave threat to judicial independence, a reckless abuse of executive discretion, and an affront to the rule of law. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we consider this suspension not only unconstitutional, but procedurally flawed, but also politically motivated and executed with alarming disregard for the sanctity of due process. Additionally, Article 146 clearly stipulates that the President has no direct authority to suspend or remove the sitting justice of the Superior Court, including the Chief Justice, without recourse to an independent investigative mechanism. In such matters, the President is merely a transmitting agent, not a judge, prosecutor, a decision maker. Therefore, his suspension of the Chief of Staff is ultra-virus, unconstitutional, and must be rescinded without any delay. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the NPP also wishes to highlight a glaring ethical impropriety. This is very important, and my colleague mentioned it, and I'm going to re-emphasize it as well. In the composition of the 5-member committee tasked with the mandate to investigate the Chief Justice, the appointment of Justice Puaman as a chair is inappropriate. Justice Puaman, having authored a Supreme Court ruling directly connecting to the petition against the Chief Justice, cannot be deemed to be an impartial adjudicator on this matter. His involvement erodes public interest and represents a conflict of interest. The refusal to recuse himself, despite the availability of other qualified justices of the Supreme Court, suggests a deliberate manipulation of the process to secure a determination that is already preconceived. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the NPP wishes to express concern over a deeply troubling and undemocratic posture adopted by the President towards Ghana's judiciary, which reflects a dangerous mindset and a diabolical agenda to manipulate the courts for political expediency. Addressing the closing ceremony of the 3rd Annual Lawyers Conference of the NDC in Akosombo, the then former president, who was then the NDC flag bearer, made troubling statement that revealed his intentions to pack the court with politically aligned judges should he return to power. In his own words, he said, "Currently, the judiciary is filled with judges who are favorable to the NPP because this government has deliberately appointed supporters to the bench." These statements confirm a thoughtful and a deliberate plan by Mr. Mahama and the NDC to transform Ghana's independent judiciary into a partisan tool favoring their political fortunes. This betrayal of the democratic principles of separation of powers and an insult to the professionalism and competence of our judges who have sworn oath to uphold justice without fear or favor. With current happenings, Ghanaians must take these pronouncements seriously. At the time, a former president and presidential candidate, Mr. Mahama, openly advocated for political infiltration of the judiciary, which poses a grave threat to our constitutional democracy. Mr. Mohammed's comments do not promote judicial reform or independence. They reveal a calculated intent to corrupt the judicial process for political gains. The peace, stability, and rule of law we enjoy as a nation must not be sacrificed on the altar of political manipulation. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we echo the legitimate concerns raised by the Ghana Bar Association and other political parties gathered here, such as the LPG, the NDP, and the PMP. The GBA bold resolution at its mid-year conference condemning the suspension and threatening legal action reinforces the seriousness of this constitutional crisis. Their stance affirms what many already know. The president's action is neither rooted in law nor the spirit of democratic principles. We caution that today, if Chief Justice Tokuno, tomorrow it could be any judge who dares to exercise independent judgment. This orchestrated assault on the judiciary threatens to dismantle the very institutional safeguards that preserve our democracy. Ghana cannot and must not descend into the state where political expediency overrides constitutional order. The NPP therefore demands the following: the immediate and unconditional reversal of Chief Justice Tokunu's suspension, full compliance with Article 146 and 296 in all future disciplinary proceedings involving justices of the Supreme Court. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the New Patriotic Party stands firm and unwavering in defense of Ghana's judiciary and the constitutional principles that uphold our democracy. The suspension of Chief Justice Gertrude Eraba Esaba Saki Tokuno is not an isolated misstep. It is the most apparent manifestation yet of President Mahama and the NDC government. Grants designed to politicize, infiltrate, and ultimately capture judiciary for partisan control. This must not and will not stand. The 1992 Constitution is the supreme law of the land. It is not subject to the whims of any president, past, present, or future. Justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done. We are witnessing the unfolding of a dangerous script authored by President John Dramani Mahama, showing no regard for judicial independence, due process, or constitutional constraint. Mr. Mohammed's words have betrayed his diabolical intent, and recent actions only confirms what we have long feared: a calculated effort to dismantle the separation of powers and turn our courts into political tool. But Ghana's democracy is stronger than anyone's ambition. The Chief Justice is the final bulwark between liberty and tyranny, and her unlawful removal signals a red line that must not be crossed. Ladies and gentlemen, we must therefore reiterate our call for the immediate reinstatement of the Chief Justice and the withdrawal of his unconstitutional action. The future of our republic, the confidence of our people in the judiciary, and the very soul of our democracy depends on this. Let it be known that the New Patriotic Party will fiercely and relentlessly resist any attempt to hijack our judicial system for any political gain. We urge Ghanaians across all divide to speak out and defend our constitution. We urge everyone to be part of this historic demonstration on Monday, 5th May. We will gather just opposite the Supreme Court. We will present the first petition at the Supreme Court. We will proceed to Parliament House, where we will present the second petition. And then we will proceed to the Jubilee House to present the final petition. We must all be part of this effort. There is this sinister motive by Mr. Mahama to pack the judiciary, to seek a judicial interpretation of the Constitution, which will interpret Article 62 so that he intends to go a third term. This agenda, inshallah, shall fail. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
So that was the national organizer of the NPP, Henry Nana Boakye, speaking earlier at the ongoing presser which is underway at the NPP's headquarters. But there's a lot happening in the NPP. As this particular news conference is underway in Accra, the party's leadership is also embarking on a thank you tour, which started from the Western region. Let's bring you some update from that, and then we'll get back to this particular news conference, which is underway. We've been joined on the line by a former communications director of the party, Nana Akomia, who is joining us. Nana, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. I mean, we want to understand, we just heard that the national chairman of the party has withdrawn from the tour for some reasons. How has that impacted morale on the tour?
Well, thank you, sir. Yes, the national chairman could not join us. We got back last night from the tour, and the rest of the night events, visit to the hospital to visit the young man who was injured, and then visit to Tumfor, all in the night. He couldn't participate. In fact, his room is next to my room. And so when we left, he was having his dinner and informed me that he'll be leaving back to Accra today, and then to recuperate, that he'll join us later. But it hasn't affected morale at all.
Okay. So where is that tour currently as we speak?
Sorry?
Where have you got into as we speak?
Oh, today we started from Joabeng, where we met how many constituencies? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We met executives of 5 constituencies. Ifiduasi, Editso, Joabeng, Kumewu, etc., Pamplin. We're just rounding up at Agona, where we are meeting 5 constituencies. Effiga Setre East, Idria, Sechidomasi, Kwabre East, Mampong, and in Suta Kwaman, the Apostle. We're just rounding up. When we finish, we will go into Ofinso, where we'll be meeting 4 constituencies. Efija Kwabre North, Efija Kwabre South, Ofinso North, Ofinso South, and then we return to Kumasi to stay the night. Tomorrow we'll move into Bronga Apple, people going to Chiman, and then we go to Tamale. So it's going on very well.
Okay. Well, if you look at this tour, within the week, some leaders of the NPP, including a former chief of staff, has asked the party to, end the tour, come back and re-strategize to try to unite the party. Now, after that, the chairman has also, decided that he's going to pull out. We know Kennedy Japan has also pulled out. People say this is a sign that all is not well within the party. Isn't the party worried, or the leadership on the tour, aren't you worried about this development and how it affects the party's aim to reunite its base?
You need to be on the ground to see the enthusiasm of party people on the ground as we engage them. Like I said, the chairman has not withdrawn. Let me put it this way. He needs to rest. Let's put it that way. I'm sure Hello?
Hi, Nana, I'm here with you.
I'm sure you know the chairman.
Yes.
And it's just a very grueling power. You're visiting so many constituencies in a day, and you have to speak at each meeting. It's quite grueling. And the chairman needs to rest. So he hasn't withdrawn. I'm sure a day or two when he feels rested, he will rejoin. The person who has withdrawn, who was officially part of it, who has withdrawn, is Kennedy Ajipon. And it was a good thing for us, for the power, that he withdrew. Yes, I acknowledge the difficulties that attended upon the power in the early days, and I'm sure that is what occasioned the worry and anxiety of leaders of the party, like John Pierre, like you mentioned. Yes, there were difficulties. The main of the difficulties was that right from the beginning, last 30 days, it was turning into a show of strength between let's say, the supporters of Bawumia and Kennedy Ajipon, and that seeming rival culminated in the what happened at Bantama 2 days ago. So Kennedy Ajipon thought it wise that if his presence was creating this atmosphere of rivalry, then it was best that he withdrew. And that I commend him for that decision. So yesterday, the call went on without any of the things that we had seen earlier on, with that show of strength and rivalry, and who can pull crowds.
Okay.
It was all missing. Yesterday was very calm. Today it's been very, very calm. I wouldn't blame anybody, but it's just that the mere presence of the two personalities attracted its own dynamics, very clear from the beginning.
Okay.
And, and it was creating a problem. And that culminated in the scene where we had the unfortunate stabbing of some youth who had been organized to come and cheer on one of the personalities. I mean, for example, when we went to Bantama, even though some of us are clear that as we progress on the tour from last week Saturday, it was becoming a show of strength. We thought it could be contained, but it wasn't getting better, actually getting worse. And then we saw what happened at Bantama, where people had come with various banners proclaiming the welcome and support for one person or the other. It was all right. It wasn't the best atmosphere for thank you, Tora. So I'm very satisfied that Kennedy decided to withdraw.
Okay.
And so the tour has been going on very, very well, very peacefully since yesterday.
We are grateful to you, Nana, for joining us with these updates. So that's Nana Komiade. He is a former communications director of the NPP.